So the other night, I was sitting around the table with my family, and my nephew was telling us about his college classes. He's a psychology major. He listed some classes, and then he mentioned that he was taking an art class. And he said that because he had taken so many honors courses during high school, he could afford to take a garbage class like art. A garbage class. And everyone around the table nodded in agreement, like I wasn't even there. Mind you, I come from a family of people who studied medicine, mathematics, and nuclear science. So we can forgive them for being a little stupid. But this conversation with my nephew triggered me. I remembered when I first told my parents that I wanted to go to art school. They saw a future of me sitting in bars, smoking cigarettes, and reading philosophy, which wasn't too far from the truth. Kidding. But the point is that they were afraid. They were afraid that I wouldn't learn any skills that would prepare me for real life. I mean, I get it. Artist Kiki Smith once told me that choosing to be an artist was like choosing to be in a free fall for the rest of her life. But the truth is, even though we take on more risks than most professions, we have acquired a tremendous set of skills by being artists. We've learned about history and other cultures. We've learned how to communicate. We've learned the discipline to develop a practice. And most importantly, we've learned about ourselves. What's the most valuable skill you have learned from being an artist? I'm curious. I'm going to be quiet here for a second so that you can really think about your answer. You can write it down if you want. What's the most valuable skill you have learned from being an artist? Have you got it? The most valuable skill I've learned from being an artist is how to show up and express myself truthfully. But what about you? What have you learned? And here's a question. Can you own that? Can you celebrate it? And do you? Raise your hand if you've ever encountered the myth of the starving artist. Raise your hand if you've ever been warned of the dangers of being an artist, or God forbid, marrying an artist. It's not just our family and friends. I think it's the whole world, don't you? When I started my organization, The Working Artist, I went to the bank to raise funds because it's a business. But I was literally laughed out of meetings. Not a single banker or venture capitalist took art seriously enough to even consider it. And you should hear the assumptions they make about artists and money. I'm not the only one who has to hear it. I am exhausted by all the messages that I get from other artists who are wounded by society's lack of respect. But I'm waking up to a new mission for myself, which is to speak truth to this lie. I don't have all the answers yet, but I do know that we cannot afford to wait for others to value us and our work. Artists have to lead the way. We have to do the emotional and spiritual work to honor ourselves and our calling. We have to step up and take responsibility for our art. And we've got to help our creative brothers and sisters by being active in our arts communities, by investing in art ourselves when we have the opportunity, and by educating others on the value of art, not in a defensive position, but in the knowledge that art can save the world. And it starts with us, it starts with you, it starts with me. My name is Crista and I'm the Working Artist. I created an online business program for artists to overcome challenges and fears in order to grow your creative practice. And today, we're going to work with the energy around money and the projections we put onto it. We'll talk about success and what it really means. And I also want to discuss the real job of an artist and the real value of our work. And maybe it seems strange to be talking about money when we talk about art, but money is a reality that can't be ignored. A lot of people refer to money as a necessary evil. It does appear to be necessary, but the energy around it is your call. Money itself isn't good or evil, it's whatever you decide. So let's talk about energy to start, because I love to talk about energy. Energy is really everything, everything is really energy. even money. Money is simply energy. Each of us projects our energy onto money and it mirrors that back to us. But that doesn't mean it's always a clear reflection. If you're having financial challenges, you might benefit from looking within. So before we go any further, let's check in with your money energy. What is money mirroring in your life? Will you play a game with me? I want you to close your eyes and center yourself. Take a deep breath. Now, I want you to imagine that you're sitting in an empty room. It's white and full of light. It's a safe space, clear. You're sitting in a chair and another chair faces you. Take another deep breath if you can. You look up and you see that money has entered the room. Money is walking toward you and it's sitting down in the chair across from you. Money as a reflection of your history, your stories, and your beliefs about it. You are now face to face with money. I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes while money speaks. Don't be afraid. Money can't hurt you. But I want you to listen to what money has to say. Observe the energy of money and how it's showing up in your life. If you need more time, just hit pause. I'll be here. Are you okay? How did that feel? Did you recognize the voice of money? Did it echo any other voices from your life? Maybe your parents or your partner? The first time I did that exercise, it was in a Ken Honda money seminar, and it was shattering. I hadn't realized how bad my relationship with money was. Money looked me up and down, and it told me I was not worthy. Money was mean. I hated money. And that's when I had my first aha moment. So I began a journey to heal my relationship with money. I looked at where money's voice came from. I shined a light on all my beliefs about money, and I questioned them. And then I began changing them. What about you? If the energy you got from money wasn't supportive, are you willing to heal that relationship? Say it out loud if you can. Let's commit. I am willing to heal my relationship with money. Say it with me again. I am willing to heal my relationship with money. Breathe that in. Healing your relationship with money is going to have a profound effect on your life. But don't be afraid. Learning how to support yourself and your creative work, it's a big part of your spiritual path, as well as your professional path. You are a warrior. Approach your challenges with courage and faith. You can. I talk to a lot of artists who tell me that they're broke right now, and I get it. Times are tough. The future seems scary. But let's make a decision to stop using the word broke to describe ourselves. None of us is broke. You are whole. And circumstances, they always change. So let's take the word broke out of our vocabulary right now. Me, I like the word challenged instead. Do you feel the difference between I'm broke and I don't have any money and I'm challenged by my situation? I do. I hear it. Money is nothing but energy, and words have energetic power too. Broke stops the flow. Challenged inspires you to rise to the obstacles and overcome them. And how do you do that? How do you overcome money challenges in your art practice? That's the million-dollar question, right? My answer is this: focus and discipline. My two least favorite words. So what do I mean by focus? As artists, we're all in love with creativity, with the muse. We love to explore and make and learn and play. It's part of being a creative person. It's important. But that's why it can be so difficult for us to focus on one medium, one idea, one style, one brand, or even one marketing strategy. I have seen artists melt in tears when I tell them to focus. Choose one. Crista, are you kidding me? Please don't tell me to choose one. And I say, if your intention is to create a profitable practice, I suggest you choose one. Choose one thing to focus on in your work at a time. Experiment all you want, but emphasize one area. For example, if you want to work on honing your voice so that your work has more continuity, then zero in on one idea. Go deep with it, learn all about it, and carry it through everything you do. If you want to focus on developing your craft, then concentrate on one style or medium or technique and really master it. Listen, if you want to wildly chase the muse, then by all means allow yourself that pleasure. But in that space where you're ready to grow, and I'm looking at you, money, you need to choose one and focus. This isn't just for your benefit as a maker, but it's also for your benefit for your audience. It's for your sales. It's difficult to share your message when you're putting out mixed messages. I like to use the artist William Wegman as an example. This is an artist that I worked with a lot and I've known for many, many years. And if you don't know his name, I am sure that you know his work. He photographs his Weimaraner dogs, and he has made a massive career out of doing this for over 50 years. This is a picture that I took of Bill telling his dogs to stay while I took the photo. I love this picture. Thank you for letting me show it off. William Wegman has licensing deals worth millions. He's had dozens of books printed. He's got galleries all around the world, and he has shown his pictures of dogs in nearly every major museum internationally. Seriously, he has a stellar blue chip career. Let me ask you a question. Do you think William Wegman started out his career thinking, I am going to photograph my dog every day for the rest of my life, and I will become rich and creatively fulfilled? The answer is no. He did not. The truth is, Bill is a painter, and a really good painter who is passionate about the medium. He also liked photography. At the start of his career, he played around with shooting pictures, making short films with his dog because he was curious about the medium, and he thought that they were funny. And some of the galleries were starting to show photos, so he thought it might be fun to try. Other people thought that his photos were funny too. And someone who worked for a new show called Saturday Night Live saw this work, and then they showed it on the air on an episode, and then the work just took off. Bill had been struggling, but the dog photographs were suddenly in hot demand. He told me that he rode the wave for a while, but then he got freaked out. He was a classically trained painter. He's graduated from a good art school. He wanted to make work that made important social and political commentary. What was he doing selling pictures of his dog? Some of his contemporaries got jealous, as contemporaries often do, and they started to dismiss him as the dog guy. So do you know what he did? He quit. He quit doing the thing that was making him money because he was afraid of what other people would say, of what it meant. He went back to struggling to get his work out there. He had some success, but it wasn't the same. He told me that it was actually his dog. And if you know your art history, William Wegman's first dog was named Man Ray because Bill knew his art history, and Man Ray was his favorite artist. But the dog named Man Ray kept pestering Bill to take his picture again. And Bill realized that his dog was teaching him a lesson. So Bill went back to photographing Man Ray, and he devoted his focus to exploring this one subject as deeply as he could. He used the dog to explore all the social and cultural issues that interested him as an artist, and even to explore the mediums of photography and film until he became a master. and he realized that this work would afford him the time to do the paintings and other creative work unrelated to dogs. Bill's paintings are wonderful, but there isn't the same big market for this work. He still gets it out there and he shares it. He's proud of his painting. Does this mean that he curses the camera or the dogs? Does he allow himself to feel trapped? Not at all. He focused on one thing, his dogs. What a great thing to focus on, eh? And he built a massive career that allows him to have a satisfying love affair with painting with no pressure or expectations. If you want to make money from your art, you might want to focus. Okay, focus on what? This is where I get a lot of artists asking me, hey, Crista, what's trending right now? What do people want to buy? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that William Wegman asked his art coach if he would tap into a trend just by taking photographs of his dog? No. So don't chase trends. Create trends. You're an artist. You're not a decorator. And the world is a huge place. There is nothing wrong with creating a niche for yourself. What's your focus? If you don't have one now, where could you create one, just to start? Let me share another example, just in case you're struggling with this idea. I worked with a very talented digital artist. He created really beautiful landscape images, seascapes, and film stills. He asked me about his social media strategy. He had been posting images of his work with a size and a price, just like everyone else. And this was greeted with a giant collective yawn from the internet. He wanted to change his strategy. He thought he might try targeting landscape enthusiasts, seascape collectors, and film buffs. And he wanted to post about all those subjects all the time. And I got exhausted just thinking about it. So what I suggested is that he choose one, and that his focus, or his golden thread, if you will, could be the fact that he worked digitally instead of traditionally. After all, he was much more passionate about digital art than seascapes. Post about that, I told him. By teaching and showing and sharing posts about digital art, something he was passionate about, he would build a relationship of trust with his audience. And when he did share his work, they already understood how to look at it. People who are interested in digital art became drawn to him, and through sharing the work of other digital artists, he became recognized as a leader, and he participated in a much larger community. In fact, within a month of following this new strategy that I proposed, he was invited to show his work in a digital art museum. So what's your focus? Identify, name it, say it out loud. I can't hear you. What's your golden thread? What are you going to focus on? Tell you what, let's reach up, if you can. I've been talking for a while, so it's a good time to move and to reach high, reach high, reach high. Take a deep breath, reach for the stars, and take a deep breath. And now, while you're reaching for the stars, I want you to name your focus. What's your one thing? What's your golden thread going to be? Name it, and it's yours. And now, pull it down from the sky. Reach up, name your focus, and then pull it down from the sky. And feel yourself wearing that thing like a cloak. Now you're the dog guy or the digital girl or whatever. Really feel your focus as part of you now, because that's what your art is. It's part of who you are. Okay, back to looking at making money again. We all need to make money, but be careful about giving it more importance than it deserves. And I say that because a lot of artists tell me that they want to make money from their art, which is fair enough, but like a lot of money. And when I ask, why are there so many zeros in your number? The answer isn't always about need. It's about what money represents. There's this belief out there that making money from your art means that you have talent. But it doesn't. It means that the market has found the work worthy. I mean, come on. We all know artists who are making tons of money but don't have talent or vision. And we all know artists who are incredibly talented but they don't make any money at all. Because money doesn't validate talent. Money rewards good marketing. It's the work itself that validates your talent. We happen to live in a society that tells us that our self-worth should only be measured by our net worth. And this is by people who seem to know the cost of everything, but understand the value of nothing. I believe that it's part of an artist's job to refuse to buy into this false value measurement, to bring these kinds of limiting assumptions into question for yourself and for others. And there's never been a more important time to find the courage to do this than now. It's part of your job to form a relationship with your creativity, your muse, and your work that does not depend on outside validation, but that nourishes you from within. Listen, it's okay to make money from your art, even a lot of money, but it's not okay to measure your value or your talent by your bank account, nor anybody else's. But let's go back to how we make money, because we still have to eat, right? And if you do want to use your creativity to make the money you need to pay bills, then I recommend you focus, as I already said, and you would also benefit from cultivating discipline. Ugh, what a horrible word, discipline, disciplinarian, ew. These words have such heavy energy. But let's change that. The root of the word discipline is disciple. A disciple is someone who believes, who supports, who is devoted. Are you devoted to your work? Most artists say yes, but they stop short of discipline, of putting their faith into action. To me, discipline is about doing the work. It's about getting into the studio consistently, doing the administrative work consistently, participating in your arts community, putting the time and the energy into the business of your creativity. And yes, I'm talking about math. That's the energy that attracts money. I'm not talking about struggling. You can succeed without struggling or striving. But I am talking about overcoming the resistance to make focus and discipline your friends, because your work is not here to support you. You are here to support your work. I have a game you might like. All right, so think about what a creative buzz feels like. As an artist, I have found that when my best ideas come, when that creative buzz comes, time stops. You know what I'm talking about. It's that high that all artists crave, the flow, the zone, that drug we're always chasing, right? So let's connect with that energy if you can. Close your eyes and remember what it feels like to be making something that thrills you. Get yourself into that state of mind. And then I want you to write 3 simple statements about it. You can write it on a piece of paper or in your journal or on your computer or even with a stick in the sand, depending where you are right now. But you're going to write 3 quick statements that describe what it is to be in the flow when you make your work. For example, if you're a painter and painting is where you feel the buzz, you might write 3 times, painting is, and describe what that feels like. Painting is freedom. Painting is empowering. Painting is an expression of me. Now go ahead and write your own. I'll wait. Okay, this is a little tricky, so listen carefully. I'm going to have you make a switch. First, write the words money is 3 times. Money is, money is, money is. And then I want you to write in the same words as you did about your creative activity. So for example, money is freedom. Money is empowering. Money is an expression of me. Now look at that for a minute. Do you see what money could be by changing your perspective? Our goal as working artists is to create this flow with money through the work we love. You know, the myth of the starving artist, it isn't true and it isn't helpful. There's nothing wrong with making money. Selling art is not selling out. It's just that money isn't usually the bottom line for creative people. It's just not a good carrot on a stick for us. Artists tend to focus on the quality of our work, on craftsmanship. We're motivated by challenges. We're obsessed by learning. We're very much aware of our legacy. What am I leaving behind? What is the body of my work saying about me? What am I creating and putting out into the world? What does it stand for? As I said earlier, we live in a culture where success is usually measured by the size of somebody's bank account. But why? Who says that defines success? I want to make money. I'd even like to make a lot of money. There, I said it. But I think I'm more interested in getting money to give, to share, to put to work, not to be something to measure myself against. I had a friend who once said to me, Crista, I never imagined that out of everyone we knew in college, I would be the most successful. And it's true that he was very rich and he knew a lot of famous people. But this man had few true friends. He had never had a romantic relationship, and he died of a drug overdose alone when he was 45. Yet, because he had a fancy job title and a big bank account, he saw himself as the most successful person in the room. And I realized that's just not how I want to measure myself. I suggest that as artists, we get our sense of self-worth from what we create, not what we consume. I encourage you to celebrate success in whatever forms it comes. Reject other people's opinions or expectations or definitions of how you're supposed to live or what you're supposed to own. It is a success just to be an artist, to make, to create, to think, to learn, to grow, to risk, to share, to teach, to beautify. This is the artist's path to success. And I'm not saying there's not money on this path. There absolutely is money on this path, but it is a tool. It doesn't define your work and it doesn't define you. How you spend your energy defines you. How much you give defines you, not how much you get. I have a friend who is an 85-year-old artist, and she has her act totally together. And we were sitting in her studio the other day, surrounded by books and catalogs about her career. And she told me she's not got a lot of pieces left to sell because every time she makes something, it just goes out the door. But then she started complaining about her career. And she said, a lot of people think I'm a success, but I'm not. And I said, are you out of your mind? You have shown all over the world. You continue to make art and you keep selling it out. You've got all these books about you. There's even a documentary film about your career. What is your problem? And she explained that because her art isn't selling for a lot of money at auction, she's really disappointed in herself. This made me so sad. It also made me aware of where I do this in my own life. Instead of celebrating the success I've had, I focus on what I don't have or what I didn't achieve. Raise your hand if you do the same thing. You know what? I don't think this serves us. They say that gratitude is the highest vibration. So imagine what kind of energy we're putting out by never being satisfied. Here's another story. I have an old boyfriend who's a photographer in London. He was a big shot who took photographs of fabulous interiors, famous race car drivers, and movie stars. He had a big career and he made big money. But things happened. A recession, a pandemic, Brexit, all things out of his control. He couldn't find any more photography jobs. He said they were all gone. And eventually he had to take a job as a bus driver. When he told me that, He sounded ashamed and even bitter. But he never stopped taking pictures. He continued to be a photographer even when no one was paying him. He said that he was looking for gigs. He'd pick up a few here and there, but nothing sustainable. He was reporting feeling like he'd hit rock bottom. And I felt so bad for him. But when I called him the other day, he sounded good. He'd gotten an annual retainer. He had found a big client who paid him big money to do a big project every month. And I said, that's great. Let's get a few more of those. But he said, you know what? I hate to say it, Crista, but I really like driving a bus now. I like the meditativeness of the work. I like the routine. I like knowing that the money will be there every week. I want to keep this photography project on the side, and I don't mind working on it and spending extra time on it, but I don't want to go back to the uncertain life of an artist. I was really happy for him and proud of him because he has found success, and he's learned that it's not about achievement, but about fulfillment. As artists, it's important to know how much risk we're willing to take on, how much security we need. There's nothing wrong with driving a bus or any other day job. Me, I teach artists how to build profitable careers. That's my side gig to support my creative life as a nomadic visual storyteller. And the balance suits me fine. We each choose our own artist path. What works for a bus driver might not work for you. But finding peace with your needs, your limitations, your gifts and your blessings, that's what makes for an easier journey. In fact, I think that's success in my book. Now let's take another quick stretch before we finish talking about money, because it feels really good to reach high, doesn't it? It feels really good to reach towards our dreams too. Reach, 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 reach. Pull it all down. Good. When I started this conversation, I asked if you were willing to heal your relationship with money. And now I want to end it by asking if you are willing to commit to one step toward making this change. For me, I committed to educating myself about financial tools and reporting and numbers. And that was the first step that I took toward healing my relationship with money. Now for you, it might be totally different. It might be starting a savings account or booking an appointment with a financial counselor or even a counselor. Like I said, it's different for each of us depending where you're at. The point is that if you show up for your relationship with money, money will show up for you. So what's one step that you can commit to? Write it down. In order to heal my relationship with money, I commit to. And then just name one step. Let's take a moment to look at this commitment. Can you smile at it? That's right, smile. Because all it takes is one step to begin a journey, and you are taking yours. Thank you for having the courage to show up for yourself and your art in this way. I am Crista Cloutier of The Working Artist, and if this conversation resonated with you, I hope you will consider working deeper with me, either through the Working Artist Masterclass or a private one-on-one strategy session, or even visiting one of my transformational retreats. Please feel free to reach out if you'd like to learn more.